20 on me, case emergency. Ain't no cap in my rap. Real I know it's the truck. More profit mean extra. Emerald white out full of pressure. That cereal milk smoking right. But that Obama rent some special. Kansas City, I'm a chief. Shout out to K5 on new one. Country thuggin', I was hustling. I always had it on me. Booming like OJ the juice. Till a nigga told on me. From now on, it's relentless. Ain't no love, we ain't friendly. If she want me on him. No the law, she get the business. No the law, still the motto. Empire.
Hello. Welcome in. It's Bird and Feather Podcast with your boy Qcity.
It's your boy Taj Bravado.
And this is episode 28, Smoking on that Love Pack. Right? So we're going to do the intro, go through the week 2 win versus the Packers, look at next week versus the Lions, do in division, give me props, and then city talk at the end. So come along with me and enjoy this ride. Music enter here, blase. You know what I'm saying? We really got to get some ads going, man.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
I know it. I feel it. All right. So, Taj, man, you got to tell me. You got to tell me. I was kind of spot on with that whole 25-22 win, right? Like, it was a weird score, even though it was 25-24. I felt like I was close.
You was close. Definitely was close because I'm not sure where I was expecting the game to be, but I'm glad we pulled it out.
I'm glad we pulled it out. I felt like as we got closer to the end, I loved the Stones, bro. I loved the Stones.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Arthur Smith definitely was like leaving it all on the field, leaving it all on the table. That's something that bothers me a lot. Is coaches always be like, you know, even announcers will say, well, punt it away now so you don't lose the game here. But it's like, bro, if I punt it away and then my defense can't stop you, like they kind of haven't all day, I'm still losing the game. So, like, I love the fact he was uber aggressive in the second half on fourth downs.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But when you got players, especially Bijan, you can afford to do that.
That absolutely. And you know what? That's a perfect place to start, bro. Tell me what you thought about this offense this week, man.
It was we were moving the ball pretty effectively, but in the red zone, it was a little shaky. I thought Ritter played okay. He clearly just needs more time to get going during the game because he started off slow, but by the time that fourth quarter came around, he was on point.
He looked absolutely horrible in the first half. Like,
oh, definitely.
He looked like he was finna get ran out the building. Ended the game 1932, 237, two touchdowns. But like, I look the 10 for 39 rushing, he had almost 300 yards of offense, right? I consistently say if your quarterback can get you 300 yards of offense, 3 touchdowns, and no turnovers, you're gonna win like 95% of those games, right?
Yeah.
So he had the almost 300 yards. He only had 2 total touchdowns, right? But because like you said, they stalled in the red zone a lot, and he had a turnover. But like, that was a surprisingly, from my end, a surprisingly good game from Ritter in terms of what I saw, especially in the second half.
It was an okay game for Ritter. It's not the best I've seen him play, but it's he got the job done, and that's really all you can ask.
Yeah, and like especially when I think about like what was on the other side of the ball. So like when I look at Love, right? Love didn't have any like eye-popping stats. He had no wide receiver, I think, that even broke 50 yards. He may have had one dude break 50 yards, but like such creative play calling, such capitalizing on field position. Man got three touchdowns that day, right? 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, but he wasn't really much of a threat running the ball, right? So like I felt like they heavily relied on zones on third downs and were able to consistently get him off the field because like he didn't step up and scramble within the pocket. Especially when once the Falcons' offense had started getting going, he couldn't string together first downs consecutively. You know what I'm saying? And like
Mm-hmm.
getting him off the field, not really being a threat on third down. I think he ended with like right under 200 yards of total offense. So like, yeah, those 3 touchdowns look good, but you weren't able to keep your team on the field and really
Right.
ice the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think you pretty much nailed it. But I do think that one thing that I've noticed in just Arthur Smith's time here is that his teams are typically very good at making halftime adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen that was rung true this past Sunday. Because the Packers look they're about to run us out the building, but then they came out and made adjustments on both sides of the ball that allowed us to pull this game out. Time adjustments and because like the Packers offense was rolling and I thought they was gonna run us out of the stadium. But because when you just look back at the game, even though they was rolling, a lot of that was just coming from penalties. They cleaned up on the penalties in the second half because the Packers weren't really able to move the ball that well on us up the field. They weren't just marching up and down the field because they only had like maybe like 230 or 460.
Yeah, no, like they really shut down the run, which was like a great piece, great point. Um, Falcons only got one sack. I don't know. It felt as though, yeah, they felt like they only got one sack, but I felt like they harassed him like pretty much the whole game. I don't feel like he had like a super clean pocket outside of like the huge play action throws that resulted in touchdowns.
Well, at least from my perspective, it didn't seem like we really could. The Packers are a very balanced offense, so it's really difficult to get those moments to where you have to just pin your ears back and key in on the quarterback. Like the fourth quarter on the light on that, and you see the pressure start to show itself.
Mm-hmm.
But on those mixed downs where they was mixing in the run and the crossers and the play action fakes and all of those different variety of things, it was much it's much harder to key on as a defensive lineman. So
And
I
I got
still
to give
want
it
you.
to LaFleur. I got to give it to LaFleur.
Yeah,
He
oh
is a
yeah.
pretty good like play caller.
He's one of the better play callers, especially just using with what he has. He doesn't make excuses. He just gets it done. But
Now I
I do.
understand. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go, no,
Oh no, I was saying I understand the whole concept of Jimmy and Joe's. I don't feel like he had obviously didn't have Aaron Jones, didn't have Christian Watson, and was still able to put up 3 touchdowns. I really feel like 2 of them was strictly creative play calling. Um, and it frustrated me because one, I feel like Arthur's a pretty creative play caller, but two, bro, we stagnated in the red zone so freaking much this game, bro. Like
yeah,
I really feel like we could have put up 5 touchdowns this game easily. Easily could have put up 5 touchdowns this game. We left a lot of points on the board.
definitely. Because Taku had what 4 field goals?
4 field goals.
Yeah,
And I want to say 3 of them came within 30 yards. That's come on, man. Come on. Including the game winner, which is good. Like I said, I
yeah.
love the fact he was ultra aggressive toward the end there, which, you know, allowed them to just run the clock down. I'm trying to think. It was a very similar game. I want to say, I think it was the Panthers last year did the exact same thing, where it's like kick the game winning field goal from the 2. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like they were able to just hold and possess the ball, control the clock, run that long.
Yeah.
Now the thing I did not like was defense. Green Bay, it looked like they had an all-world defense versus the Bears, but like looking at them, I really feel like we had their defense for a good bit of the day. Penalties killed us. Penalties killed us. Stalling in the red zone killed us. But I think what actually killed us is like Bijan had to take a break at some point because that man was carrying the whole team this week.
Yeah, you talking about when he went out after he caught that pass on the right side. Yeah, in the post game interview, he just said he when he got tackled, they hit him, and got the air knocked out of him. So he just said he just couldn't breathe. But
And man, every time he was on the field, he was the offense. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
he had well over 150 yards of total offense. Like,
172. Yep.
he carried the team in the second half. I was just like I understand balanced offense and whatnot, but like, bro, sometimes you just gotta let dogs eat. Get
Oh
out the
yeah.
way and let that man work.
Yeah, especially when he's in a rhythm in his, because he was clearly in his own.
Uh,
And we still have not seen the best of him yet. And that's the scary part.
is it yeah? Is the fact that like you're looking at him like, yo, you're only gonna get better game to game. Like your
Right.
timing is only gonna get better. One thing I did like offensively, okay, my man London coming on 6 for 67 and a touchdown. He had 8 targets this game. Mac Hollins, he had that huge flea flicker play. He was really kind of absent the rest of the game. The part that was
No, I wouldn't say he was absent because he got robbed out of a touchdown too.
that's true. That's true. But the part for me that was disconcerting is Pitts 2 for 15 on 4 targets. What do we have to do? Because the Packers are a defense that allows you to take the middle of the field. Now, granted, they use that taking the middle of the field on the play action dig routes to London, which I love because that is Ritter's strong suit. But like straight dropbacks is when you get your tight end. And like on straight dropbacks, Ritter was still kind of bad this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But like, bro, we just cannot get Pitts involved. And at this point, it's kind of becoming concerning because he was out. What, he played one game with Ritter last year, and then he was out.
No, he didn't play. He didn't play with
He
Ritter
played
at all
no
last
games
year.
with Ritter last year, and through 2 games this year, he has 6 receptions for right under 50 yards. This is
No, he got more than that. He got more than 50 because he got 40 in the week one.
he got 40 in week one, so he's at 62 because he
Yeah.
had 47, so he had 62. 6 receptions, 62 yards, which isn't a bad per average. But like if you put that out, that's 3 yards, there's 3 receptions, 30 yards every game, times 17 games, he's not going to play. He's not going to play 17 games. But even if you said times 17 games, that's 51 receptions for 900 yards. That's no, not for a
I
guy
mean,
of this
that's
caliber.
for for a tight end. That's excellent numbers though. Because you got to realize, like even last year, only two or maybe three tight ends went over 1,000 yards.
And
So
Kyle Pitts has the talent to do that. Like
he does.
I don't accept mediocrity from him specifically. Now
But
I understand that your first season was with Matt Ryan. And people don't give Matt Ryan his just due. He sees the field amazingly. You were a weapon. Julio wasn't there. Obviously, like he's gonna look for you. Your numbers are gonna like look a little better.
yeah,
Last year, Mariota couldn't get you the ball. You got hurt. Okay, cool. This year, like, I don't know. I'm looking for him to average between 5 and 7 receptions and 45 to 60 yards every single game. Like that's just the talent level that he has specifically.
that is the talent level. But I think when it comes to Pitts, it's not Pitts' fault. Why with the production? It's not a scheme thing. It's not a Pitts thing. It's just a quarterback thing. Because in the similar scheme, he put up 1,000 yards with Matt Ryan. The the
Yeah,
the, the scheme is there. It's just the quarterback play is not there. Will Ritter get there? That's a whole nother conversation. But Pitts isn't doing anything wrong. It's not like he's dropping passes or he's not getting open because if you go back and watch the all 22s, he's open. It's just whether or not whether sees him or he has the time.
Yeah, and so that's what I really want to harp on, the 4 targets part, right? So like the 2 for 15, okay, it is what it is, but like you only looked his way 4 times. Like
So
London
okay,
had
so
London had 6 receptions on 9 targets, right?
so
So you still left some meat on the bone. 2 of those targets were deemed off
yeah,
target.
because one of them he was wide open. He missed it. He missed it badly.
Yeah, so like 2 of those
But
targets were deemed off target. But for Pitts, your out of your 4 targets, one was deemed off target, the other one was just kind of like good coverage. And it's like, damn, you dropped back 32 times and Pitts only got 4 targets. That does not sit well with me.
it doesn't sit well. But you also got to realize, I know, the whole NFL knows Pitts is besides outside of Bijan, Pitts is our most dangerous weapon.
Mm-hmm.
He's the most he's our most dangerous weapon in the pass game for sure. So
And
knowing
so
that,
with that being the case, where is he on the progression?
no,
Right?
see, well, it just depends because different plays call for different reads. But knowing that he's the most dangerous weapon, he's going to cause for more attention. So sometimes it's like, oh well, I might want to get you here, but there's 2 guys here, and oh, London's only on this little corner over here. Given Jair is a good corner, but Drake did well versus Jair.
I think Drake toasted him. Like it was only
He did.
67 yards, but I think he toasted him for a good bit of the day.
No, he let Jair have it, and he let him know it. So
Now
I think
the person to me that like really struggled offensively was Pitts, of course, but Algier. I was not expecting that type of game from him.
um I don't think very strong because it's just one of them type of games to where the fact that Bijan is able to operate so well in tight spaces is what allowed him to thrive in that game. Because this man could juke you in a phone. Algier does not have that type of capability, so I'm not going
You're
to say he
kind of
struggled. Hmm?
no. I was saying, yeah,
So
like I get that's not his forte, but him being put
yes,
in a position where he was kind of just a battering ram for the day resulted in like 3 yards per carry. Like it, it, it seemed as though, whereas last week he came up with the clutch runs of 6 to 7 yards to consistently keep the clock turning and keep us on the field. This week he was putting us almost behind the sticks on second down.
well, you also got it's different defenses. Like as Arthur Smith says, each week is its own entity. So yes, he
True,
did
true.
extremely well week 1, but you can't really look at that and then compare it to week 2 because those runs that were there week 1 weren't there for week 2 because Green Bay is a more talented defense.
True, 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 true.
They have better linebacker play. They have better D line play across the front. So there are things that just won't be there for a running back like Algier. Because like for Algier, you need good block. You need damn near perfect blocking for him to do his thing. With Bijan, you don't need perfect blocking for him to get off.
And Bijan could just he was making
Because
skittles out of shit. Like he was making it happen, bro. Like
right, like on that pitch play. Soon as he get the ball, there's someone in the backfield. Bijan say, "Oh, no problem." Juke.
make
Someone else
touch
coming. Oh,
earth,
no problem. Juke.
touch earth.
Like he had them boys doing the Spider-Man challenge.
Nah, like Bijan is 100. He is special. You called it. He's special. What is not special? The right side of that line and pass protection. This
I
has got to
mean,
get handled.
yeah.
It's
It's
got to get handled.
it's going to get handled. But when you look at across the league universally, offensive lines have been struggling for the most part. Chris Lindstrom had a bounce back game. McGarry, he whatever, but I will say this much: even though they are bad, the Desmond Ritter was able to actually have time in the pocket this game, time that he didn't have the first week.
And I think that's what helped contribute to the down the field passing, because that was obviously, like that was, we talked about yards per attempt on the
Right.
last pod. Like they actually had a downfield passing game. It wasn't just action at the line the whole
Yeah.
game this game. And so I really did enjoy the fact that like they at least attempted to pass the ball down the field and only had one sack.
Yeah.
Only had one sack.
So the O line, it didn't look pretty, but it was effective this week. And as long as we can make these small improvements each week, I think we're going to be just fine.
On the left side, I'm not gonna lie to you. Jake is showing his age a little bit.
Jake's doing fine. Jake's staying part of the course. He's solid, and that's really all you can ask for out of a lineman. As long as you're solid, that's really all you need. Jake's never been the elite guy, but he's never been a bum. As
No,
long
he's
as
never.
he's
No, no, no.
solid,
Yeah. He's never been a bum. But like, I think it's a more precipitous fall from average when age catches up to you rather than great. So like Trent Williams, like he probably won't be playing at his level, but like as he ages, he's just going to be from an all pro level to a Pro Bowl level. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like top end Jake Matthews is Pro Bowl level, and as he's aging, he's just like very much league average or below league average as a left tackle. I do think that like as we progress onto the year, they already drafted Bergeron. I don't think they would ever kick him outside, but like I think that's probably going to be a focal point in next year's draft.
um, I imagine it. I imagine they address the line at some point.
No. Yeah,
Whether
probably
it
not
be
first
whether it
round.
be whether it be this year or next year, but I do expect them to address tackle specifically in one of the next 2 years, whether that be via the draft or free agency or trade. But I don't think Jake is. I don't see personally don't see the drop off with Drake, and Jake's not even that old. Jake's only like what 31, I think, which is still fair years for a lineman. I think a drop off may be coming. But like Drake showed up to, I mean, not Drake, but Jake showed up to camp and possibly he showed up the best I've ever seen him look. And I think it's gonna be fine. It's just just universities throughout the league line have been struggling.
It has. The
So
defensive linemen are ahead of them, and that really could just be a function of there's not as much physicality in
yeah,
practice, and so you gotta
because
work through it.
like
Um,
because Jake's never been a good run blocker. His forte is pass blocking. He's
and
been
and
okay. He's
and this
been okay
offense
in run
doesn't
blocking.
really lend to it.
No, but he's athletic enough to get in the way and make those key blocks. Like he's not terrible in run blocking. He's good enough, but it's just he gives you that balance that you don't really find in a lot of tackles.
The thing I found ironic that I really enjoyed is that we were the team to walk a team down this week, though.
Oh yeah,
Green Bay scored that touchdown late in the third, and I'm not gonna lie, my mind immediately went to okay, so this is probably it. We're gonna go ahead and call it a day, right? Ritter goes down, scores a touchdown. Then I was kind of miffed that we kicked a field goal, but like at that point in the game, I understood not going for it on fourth
yeah, just
because
get points. Just keep getting points.
get the points, and your defense had started doing a great job of getting them off the field. And then ending the game on like the 5. You know what I'm saying, with the field goal from Koo. Uh,
Yeah.
I would have loved to put it in there, but I understand you're taking it all the way down. It felt good to be the team to not blow a lead, but like walk a team down all the way. Have their quarterbacks. I can't even say Love short circuited. He just didn't string together first downs. Um, their run game was like not a factor at all for a majority of the game, and
Right.
it felt good that like I felt like too many times we've been in a position where if a team is up on you, they're just going to impose your will on it. They're going to impose their will on you, running the ball, and like every now and then I'm gonna throw in a pass to like show you you can't get me off the field, and at the very least put up a field goal.
Right.
Shut out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Shut out in the fourth quarter, and that was really refreshing.
Yeah, it was. It was. But I do think it played a part in them not making those like because every time we made those penalties, they went down to score. With
Every
exception
single
of the
time.
first drive because they pulled off that flea flicker on the opening play of the drive. AJ Terrell committed the pass interference, which I'm not upset with. Um, because um, and then Green Bay did make some boneheaded decisions, like in that order where it was like what one, and then Jordan Love jumped off sides trying to do a quarterback sneak.
Yes, didn't even grab the ball. So I'm guessing that was a snap count thing. I've never felt like Mercedes Benz had because Atlanta's so full of transplants, has like this super amazing home court, like home field advantage, but like it did feel like the place was going good. It felt like a lot of Packers fans, just watching on TV felt like a decent amount of Packers fans, but it did. The home crowd had a little to do with like the snap count and the noise
Oh yeah,
being
no,
being
definitely.
off in
Some
that.
some people I know that was there, they all said that the home crowd was bringing the noise,
And
and
I
and
always
that's
think
the
it's
same
rough
part.
when you play certain teams like that at home. Like I'm not gonna be like we're the Chargers where we have like 17 road games. But like I do feel like when we play teams like the Pack, the Steelers, the Cowboys, like
Teams that
national
generally
branded
travel
teams,
well,
that
yeah.
yeah, they really travel well. All right, man. Well, that was a good Falcons win for the week. Let's go ahead and look to next week versus the Lions. All right. So, bruh, next week facing the Lions, 1-1. They're coming off a loss versus the Seahawks in overtime. The first thing that sticks out to me is Jared Goff is legit. Like he is a legit high producing quarterback at this
Yeah,
point in his career.
definitely.
And I don't think you can take that away from him.
No, you can't. Definitely one of the more underrated and underappreciated quarterbacks. Um, in a lot of ways, Jared Goff kind of reminds me of Matt Ryan.
Mm-hmm. I think that his marriage with Ben Johnson right now is really like they're in a groove offensively play calling. They scored 21 versus the Chiefs, but dating back to last year, I want to say 7 out of their last 9 games, they've scored at least 30 points.
Oh no, yeah, they were
So
rolling. Yeah,
yeah, so this ain't gonna be a 25-24 type of game. Atlanta is going to either A have to put up some points or B be crazy ball control. And I'm really kind of interested to see in what way they go this week. What you think?
I think this week is Desmond Ritter's breakout game.
Why you think that is?
Because Detroit is, I mean, defensively, they're about the middle of the pack defense. but they're missing what what's it say? The C.J. Gardner Johnson. He just went
Mm-hmm.
down with a potential torn pec. Well, not a potential. He went down with a torn pec, so he's out. And then hold on, let me pull the for them. A good amount of pieces.
While you looking that up, I was gonna point out, yeah, like that was one of my highlights is that the defense isn't super key right now. Even with Garner Johnson, they were getting lit up. And what I've noticed is that they're susceptible on the sides of the field, not the middle of the field, right?
Right.
In the secondary. I don't feel like that bodes well. I don't feel like that bodes to Ritter's strengths, right? So once, like we talked about, he's a middle of the field passer.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a see it and do it type thing or low anticipation. It seems like he has a lot of trust in London, but not too much any other receivers. You really got to see him uncork it on that flea flicker to Matt Collins, but I'm really interested, you know, how he looks, how he looks when the play to be made is the deep ball.
Right. So
And you're in a dome. So it's not like, you're on the road, but you're still in a dome.
right. Uh, so pull up the injuries. So C.J. Gardner Johnson, he's out. Then they're missing one of their better pass rushers in James Houston. He's out. And
Okay.
then you have another safety, this Kirby Joseph. He's on the injury report list. They have a cornerback, Emmanuel Mosley, who's on the injury report list. So they have a relatively new cornerback group in general, and I'm not really fearful of any of the corners. And given that Detroit may be a little stronger in the middle of the field, I don't see anything that will prohibit Desmond Ridder from being able to attack them.
Well, their Iowa linebacker, he is. I'm not gonna lie, he's pretty athletic, and he is flying all over the field in pass coverage. He doesn't necessarily understand all the pass coverage, but he's flying around the field. Um,
Hey, that is true.
their defensive line, off the top of my head, I can't think of any standout names outside of Justin Houston, but he's old as
No,
dirt,
Aiden
and like
Hutchinson.
you said, he just out. So
Aiden Hutchinson's the guy.
Aiden is the man. Aiden is the man. That's the standout name. Yes,
But
he's
outside
going to
of
have a
him,
field day on the right side of our line.
I'm not so sure he will. I mean he's a problem, but McGarry does well against, well, I'm not gonna say he does well, but he doesn't struggle as much against that type of pass rusher.
He struggles against speed, not power.
Yeah.
Right?
So Aiden is not a
He struggles
speed
against.
guy. He does
Aiden's
have an
not a
elite
speed
first
guy.
step. He does have an elite first step. He can give you the speed, but it's not the same speed that you gotta fear with Burns. So I'm confident that we'll be able to hold our own versus their defense.
All right, now let's look at them defensively. I would say we had a pretty good showing against Green Bay, even with the 3 touchdowns. Like I felt
Yeah,
like we definitely bowed up in the second half. So, but I don't think there's any way in the world that Goff throws 3 touchdowns and we're walking away with the win. Because if Goff scores 3 touchdowns, they're scoring like two on the ground, and it might be a blowout. So,
well, now see, this game is going to be the first game that Jameer Gibbs has actually started because their starter Montgomery, he's out for the next 3 or 4 weeks with I think an ankle injury.
mhm.
And then the number one receiver, St. Brown, he didn't practice today with a toe injury, so that's something to monitor. Um, so I do think this the way that things are lining up. You hate this to hear about injuries, but it's a part of the game. But things are seeming like they're lining up for in our favor for this game. Because even with St. Brown, if he plays, if he's not 100%, I think that helps because I do believe we get a quarterback this week. He's been a full participant in practice so thus far. So
Be a nice
um,
little homecoming.
yes, part of it feels like it's by design for some, but maybe it's just me just overthinking it. but but I do feel that we could probably put together a fairly solid defensive performance versus this Lions team. They do have one of
Now,
the better offensive lines, though, so it'll be interesting to see.
they do. Sewell is a nasty mofo, and everybody else on the line takes straight from him. They do not allow a lot of sacks. They run the ball very aggressively. And I think that allows for, even though they seem like a running gun team, they're actually very good balanced play calling.
Yeah.
When I think about it, score wise, if it's a Falcons win, which, that's all I'm going to predict. If it's a Falcons win, it would be a 34-31 type of game.
It'll be that high.
I don't see
28-24.
them scoring any less than 27.
I think it's gonna be 28-24. Because like just for the most part in Arthur Smith games, he teams besides the Bengals game did give up a lot of points just because of the style of play we had. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, like he seems to minimize teams' possessions, right?
Yes.
Which is really helpful, really cool, like all that. The Lions have shown they can score fast, right? And if you get into a situation like you did this week, where going into the late third quarter, you only have 13 points, it could be a situation where the Lions already have 28. And that's a far bigger mountain or hurdle that you have to climb. And so I definitely think that foot on the gas, there's a certain pressure that high powered offenses put on teams, right? And like the Chiefs do it, but people don't want to admit that like the Lions do it as well, to where they score fast and then they score again. And it may not be a touchdown the second time, but looking up and being down 10 early in the second, late in the second, and then they possibly getting the ball after halftime changes how you call the game drastically. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely feel like if you squander opportunities, one, we cannot go, what was it, 1 for 4 or 1 for 5 in the red zone.
We got to turn those field goals into points, because if we
Got
did
to
that
be
even
touchdowns.
last week, if we did that last week, it's a
Two
blowout.
for five. 2 for 5. My bad. 2 for 5.
If we even double up on touchdowns, that game is a lot different from last week.
Absolutely. So we're driving the field. You know what I'm saying? We're driving the field. And it's crazy that I'm saying this about Arthur. I want to see a little bit more creative play calling in the red zone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if it's the play calling or if it's truly just execution. But
I think it's execution thing, because like just last week, it just looked a little hectic when it got down there.
I feel like whatever move we make, we have to be able to get into the end zone. Like we cannot settle for field goals against this team.
Yeah, definitely.
Another point defensively I wanted to bring out was Laporta is he a dog, man. He is a dog, especially in terms of tight ends. I feel like Jesse's going to match up with him a majority of the game. Honestly, just patrolling that middle of the field, as St. Brown tends to work Diggs straight outsides. He doesn't like just run past you, go deep. Reynolds is the guy to do that. So I feel like Laporta is going to control that middle of the field. And from what I've seen so far, we tend to love cover 3, right? We tend to love it. But that matches up Jesse against tight ends.
We play a lot more man. Like we play a lot of robber. Jesse, from what I've seen, like when we played the Panthers, Jesse was the robber safety. That's how he was able to.
But they manned up. They manned up against the Panthers because they didn't respect Bryce.
Yeah,
right?
They manned up on the Packers as well, too.
They manned up. They manned up when they manned up on the sweep, like the sweep play for the touchdown that ended up in the pylon,
Mhm.
right? Because he got lost in the shuffle. But when they were making the consecutive stops, they went into zone and just Love just wouldn't run.
But I think once they saw he would run, but they're a primarily man team because the two of the touchdowns, the one of them with the jet sweep, and then the other one where number 13 scored when he went on motion because he had who is it? Trey Flowers.
Trey Flowers.
He had Trey Flowers
Yeah,
falling apart the
yeah.
formation,
That had to
and he kind
yeah.
of just did like this little motion, came up, and then kind of pulled like a little in route, and Trey just got lost and missed the tackle. Um, because I believe just from tendencies from our defensive coordinator coming from the Saints, the Saints love man, but they also love cover four shells too. Um, cover four, a little cover two.
Which is crazy because I haven't seen too many cover four coverages out of them. Now, granted, this is my eye when I look at them, right?
Yeah,
Like they rely heavily on man, and why I said the cover three concept is because what you're seeing AJ drop back linebacker to the flat, and then it looks like Robert because you'll have the one safety rotate down, but then he goes to the middle of the field.
yeah.
But so it's not cover one Robert because you don't have those mans on the outside and your corner's not going into the flat. Because if that's the case, then your linebacker would jump up to the middle zone. But you're asking your linebacker to cover the flat and only the one linebacker to your middle linebacker to fall back into the middle zone.
But you also got to look at it because like, a lot of the time, it depends on the down. Like typically on third down, you'll see us crowd the line, and you don't know who's coming or going.
No,
Because
absolutely. Like I love the creative blitzes that they had. I love the creative blitzes that they
sometimes
had.
it's not even a blitz at all. It's just something just to simulate a pressure, just to make the offensive line overload and overthink things. But sometimes you might have like the linebacker come and it might be someone else that drops. So it
And I
creates
love
a lot of chaos. But back to what we were talking about, well, Laporta, I expect to see probably Troy Anderson line up on the tight end more.
he has improved in pass defense this year. That is something that I can say, hey man, he worked on. He worked on because he does not look lost out there anymore. Um, I feel like whatever coverage that they're gonna decide to put on, they they absolutely have to disguise it. Can't give Garrett Goff the answers for the test before it happens, right?
Mhm.
Because he has been shredding people. And I just I don't want a situation where you look up and they score 35 on you just because they're able to score fast.
I'd be very surprised if that happened this week.
No, I
Like
think our defense is much improved, but hey, like a good offense can be a good defense,
it
right?
is, but
So like
I don't think their defense is going to be able to stop us.
I don't either. I think Bijan may have like a really good day. I think there's ball control elements at play, but my thing is if they're able to score and we get tripped up and we're not able to, or we only score a field goal, right? It's the same concept that the Chiefs used or used to use, you know what I'm saying, when they were like they're really struggling right now offensively. But it's like I score 7. Whether you score 3 or 0, if I score 7 again or even 3, the pressure is now on you, right? The pressure's on your play calling. The pressure's
Mhm.
on your, to be perfect, not to have penalties. Because if I get the ball again and even score a field goal, like this could quickly become a 2 or 3 possession game, and now your best element, which is running the ball, may
Mhm.
be obsolete even very early in the game. And that's not the case. It's not what you want to have. I mean, hell, that's what happened in Dallas, both of Dallas's games. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like you can completely take a team out of it early in the second quarter just by like an onslaught of scores, and they don't all have to be touchdowns.
Uh, I mean, but Dallas only won 18-10 though, so I don't. because Dallas didn't put up a
No,
lot of points on the Jets. Are also one of them.
no.
One or
Well, I
two
was saying the
something.
Giants game. Like they completely
Oh,
took them out early
well, yeah,
and
the Giants, yeah,
took away the
but
Giants' ability to like Saquon's your best weapon. You took him out the game. You know what I'm
but
saying?
the Giants, I
In a
think the
matter of
Giants are
minutes.
just a bad team, though.
Yeah, I mean they came back up
The
versus the
Cardinals.
Cardinals. We're getting off track. You know what I'm saying? Look, we're gonna end
Yeah.
up talking. All right. All right. Next is in division.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm not scared.
All right, bro.
I'm not
So
scared.
looking at the Falcons, right? Uh Next week versus the Lions. Obviously, we talked about that. They're 2-0 this week. The Saints beat the Panthers on Monday Night Football. Right. Next week they face the Packers, so we'll have some data against them on a common opponent. What did you think about that Saints Panthers game, man?
It was ugly.
As hell.
It was just ugly. Looking at that, I do not fear the Saints not one bit.
No.
Um, I think this division is gonna come down between us and the Bucks.
I'm gonna tell you, bro. I'm gonna tell you. And it sound wild. It sound like wild behavior. I don't even really fear the Bucks, bro.
See,
Cause like
the
I think
the
the Bears, like I can't view a win versus the Bears as like a real win
I mean
right
that
now. Just right now, just where the Bears are. You know they lost 12 straight, bro. Like I heard it on a podcast and I was like, damn, that's wild. But then you look back, they done lost 12 games in a row, bro. Justin Fields is 5-22 as a starter.
oh he's horrible.
Like, yo, bro, like they are just like they are a terrible team. So it's almost like, yeah, you beat them, but like losing to them would have been way worse. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
it's
saying? Like
yeah.
we don't think
It
about them as
was
like the number one team last year or a team with the number one pick because they traded it. But like they had the number one pick. Like y'all were a terrible team and it don't look like you got any better.
no.
Uh but yeah, absolutely. That Saints Panthers game was ugly as hell. Uh Carr made a late push in the game. Was able to get the touchdown. Then Bryce came back, scored a touchdown to make the game look a little bit more decent.
Yeah, it's they made it look a
We
little more decent, but
Yeah, you made it look good. We talked about the Bucks. They're 2-0 right now. They beat the Bears. Next week they got the Eagles on Monday night. So we'll probably uh similar to this week record on Wednesday since we got a division game on Monday night.
yeah.
But what stuck out to me, the Panthers are 0-2, right? Just had a Monday night game versus the Saints. Guess who
Yeah.
they play this week?
Who did they play?
They play the Seahawks, but they play them in the 405 slot.
Interesting.
How the hell do the Panthers get two back-to-back national games?
I mean, the quarterback. Everybody wants to see Bryce Young, even though he is struggling right now. But they
That's
want to
got
see
to
him.
be the only thing I'm thinking. And I'm sitting here like, this is because one, it's a train wreck. Like their offense looks ugly as hell. Like no part of their offense looks good,
Oh no,
right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And when you're sitting there looking at it, it's like, okay, you're putting him on prime time. I honestly think I haven't looked at their schedule enough to look to see if they have any more primetime games this year. But I guarantee if they have any primetime game after week 8, it's getting flexed. It's getting flexed. Like you can't keep watching them because the Brown Steelers game wasn't super entertaining, but I literally like Their teams in my division, and we do this for a job, and it was hard to keep watching that game. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
it was difficult. Cause
Like it,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I ended up switching over to the Browns game.
hey, look. Yeah, sometimes you gotta keep it real, bro. Like I was like, yo, this is ugly, bro.
Because I'm just like
And
I have no investment enough to sit through this boring game, so I'm gonna watch the Browns.
yeah, and it's just like the Saints offense, there's no creativity there. Now, I will say, so far, their defense looks legit. Now, our defense looked real legit versus the Panthers, gave up some plays versus the Packers, right? To, Titans offense looked really good versus the Chargers, but the Chargers aren't a great defense.
No, they're not.
So, taking all those factors into consideration with a grain of salt, it does look like the Saints defense is pretty good.
Uh, the Titans don't really have much of an offense. I mean, yeah, they bounced back versus the Chargers, but and then they didn't really do all that well versus the Panthers. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do, but it's nothing to where I'm just like, oh, okay, this defense might be something.
Yeah, but up until that last BS drive, they hadn't allowed a touchdown this season. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they seem to have some sort of sauce there. The
Yeah,
Bucks
oh, yeah,
the Bucks look like world beaters versus the Bears. But like once again, it's hard to take that like any seriously at all. I feel like this Bucks Eagles game might have a real might be a real barometer on whatever this team is and give us some insight into what they're going to be. I think the Packers are going to bounce back versus the Saints. So I'm looking at Saints 2-1. I honestly think the Bucks could be 3-0, and
I
the
do.
Lions will be a tough game for us. So like we could be looking up at 3-0 and have 2-1 teams. I don't think that the Panthers beat the Seahawks. I think they fall to 0-3. And like I said last week, they get to about 1-4, they're out of it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
What you thinking?
It's
So what you think about the division?
I pretty much agree with what you said.
So I think the big game for us this week would probably just be Bucks and Eagles.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, Bucks and Eagles, and I do think that the Bucks can pull that game out because I mean I'm really not overly impressed with the Eagles this year.
They struggled versus the Patriots. It looked kind of weird, but they bounced back last week, offensively anyway, and versus the Vikings, they were able to do a couple things. He's a downfield passer, but he's not running the ball. He's not being Jalen.
Yeah,
So it might just be a function of getting a couple weeks, getting your sea legs back, all that type situation. But Baker's playing good ball, man. Baker's
yeah,
playing
he
good ball.
is.
And so if he's able to keep that up, I think that, hey, confidence is a hell of a thing. If you can
It
keep
is.
that long term, it could make for an interesting division race. But as of now, 2-0, three teams tied at the top of the division. We living with it.
Yeah. Hopefully we can hopefully we can get this thing to sway our way when it's all said and done.
Props, the betting portion of the show. So last week I went 3-2, right? This week, since we're recording on Wednesday, I actually have all my bets cashed. Um, 2-3 week, man. 2-3 week. My feelings are hurt. But
Ah,
seeing as we recording Wednesday, I actually had a props for next week out as well. So going through last week, to throw a pick, Ritter, cashed that. To score a touchdown anytime, Bijan didn't cash. Uh,
But I
Drake
did call
London.
the Ritter pick.
What's up?
I did call that Ritter pick.
100%. As soon as you said it, you was like, "This might be the week for it." Throw that bet in. um, to score a touchdown anytime, Bijan, I did not cash that, and I was surprised at that one. Um, Drake London over 41 and a half receiving yards, cashed. Pitts over 36 and a half receiving yards, didn't cash. And then I always do one bet on the other team. All purpose AJ Dillon over 81 and a half yards and did not cash. So 2-3 week, 5-5 on the season. Uh, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I am not gonna lie to you. That to score anytime touchdown, Bijan. I seriously thought I thought I was gonna get that one.
I think it was close when they went for it in the red zone. It was close. It was definitely close. It just unfortunately just didn't swing our way. Just one bad block, but their linebacker played well enough to stop it.
And then Drake, obviously that was a good one. You called
Oh
the
yeah.
pick on Ritter. The 36, the over 36 and a half for Pitts, bro. 15 yards, bro. 15 yards, bro. You killing me. You killing me. I don't feel like 36 and a half is a crazy number to get. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm on this pitch train. I am on this pitch train because we haven't gone over my bets for this week, but I'm right back on it. Like you know, because
No,
like you're gonna
I
hit
think
this
this
over.
got to be the week. Um, I do think this week he does get something done.
You got to hit this over eventually. Like you got to. The all-purpose AJ Dillon yards, he got really close to it. He was at 55 rushing, and then I think he had 8 receiving. So he was at 63. Uh,
Mhm.
Honestly, I just thought he's not really much of a pass catcher. I just thought he was going to get, most of it just rushing, to be honest with you. Uh, but he didn't. And like, it's a, it's bad that I lost the bet, but it's good that he didn't have that level of production. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So 2-3 week, not the best, not the best. But one of the props of recording on Wednesday is that props for next week or the early props for next week are out. I already got 5 that I like. So I'm gonna run through them. Tell me what you think. Uh I ain't gonna mention no bet naps until they start paying us. So if you know somebody that has a bet nap or is a bookie, tell them to pay us and we're gonna advertise. Passing yards for Jared Goff over 271 and a half. Right. So I definitely feel strongly about that one. Um, I think he can get over 270 yards passing. Don't necessarily think that would be the worst thing in the world for our team. I actually think that if we're able to convert in the red zone, he might be throwing against soft coverages late in the game and able to rack up like garbage time yards. Uh, Kyle Pitts over 33 and a half. I need that. I don't even
I like
need him for the yards. Like I need it for my psyche. I gotta get him one.
it.
I gotta get a Kyle Pitts one. I don't have a problem. Anyway, uh, to score a touchdown anytime, Drake London. Coup over 1.5 field goals and all-purpose yards. Bijan 95, 98 and a half. I'm taking the over. So tell me what you think.
You said 90 and over for rushing yards or total yards.
All-purpose yards.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like the number for Bijan.
The
I'm
coup
iffy on
over
the
one
Drake
and a half.
London one. I like the
Oh,
cool one. I like the
you
cool
like coup
one.
over 1.5 field goals?
Yeah, I like cool. But iffy on the Drake London one, and I'm iffy on Jared Goff one. I'm not sure he's hitting that 271.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought that was kind of a high number. But like
Yeah,
I see a path in which he can I see a path in which he can hit that number and the game still follows the kind of script that we had stated over when we talked about next week where the defense isn't great. So the Falcons score, they convert red zone, and I envision him throwing against like prior to halftime, if I was to do a halftime prop, I could see him at 120, 130, right?
Mhm.
And then I see him throwing against soft defenses in the second half because his team is down.
Okay, I can get behind that.
You feel what I'm saying? Like that was at least my betting logic there.
I can get behind that.
And then the Pitts anytime the London anytime touchdown, honestly, it's just because like I was already betting Bijan on the night. I don't like to bet on the same person multiple times. So like I did Bijan 98.5 over. So like
Right.
I was gonna do anytime touchdown for Algier, but I feel like, especially with Bijan not getting in the end zone last week and looking at how they converted red zone opportunities last week, I think Bijan's going to be in the game more. And so I think Algier might not get a touchdown this week. With that being the case, I felt like Pitts, I did the receiving yards, so I might as well go touchdown Drake London.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. But
Now they have Matt Collins there, but like his odds were crazy low. And I was just like, oh, you know what we didn't talk about? They robbed that man. They robbed
they
that man
did.
of a
They did rob
touchdown.
him. They did rob him.
They robbed that man of a touchdown, bro.
They definitely robbed him.
And
That
I ain't had nothing on him. I ain't had nothing on him, but I know somebody. Oh boy, I know a phone went through a TV. I know a phone went through a TV when they overturned that.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Because yeah. No.
Because it didn't make sense. Like his heel never came. Like his toe came. Both his toes were down. Then his heel came. So like I don't know, man. Like that was
I don't understand the logic behind it.
nah. That was a terrible call.
The logic behind that didn't make much sense to me.
All right. Always, please bet responsibly. Know your limits. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I don't know what
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Please.
saying. I just
Please.
like
Please
please
be
don't
responsible.
please be responsible, bro. Please be responsible. We are sponsored by blank. Anyway, uh, up next, City Talk. All right, bro. So first thing I wanted to throw out was like that Joe calf thing, man. Joe's calf ain't right, and
Oh no.
it's crazy that like it's almost necessary that you got to sit him down because like I went back and looked at it. Aaron Rodgers, calf strain, calf injury, popped his Achilles. Kevin Durant,
Yeah.
calf strain, calf injury, popped his Achilles. Kobe, right? Before he popped his Achilles, he sat out one game for guess what?
Calf.
Calf soreness. So like
So warning signs.
it's damn near like word for word now that like if your calf starts to bother you, like your Achilles could go next. And Joe loses a season two on Achilles, like you can go ahead and hand the Chiefs 3 trophies in a row. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
No
Like
one. No one over there stopping them.
no one's stopping him. No one's stopping him. Joe is like I constantly use that phrase like he one of them ones. Like Joe is one of them ones, bro. Like he is one of them dudes. And like I don't think that Patrick Mahomes ever looks across the field and sees anybody that like he feels is on his level until he plays Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like the Bills are a silly team. Um and I felt that way about the Falcons a couple times when we had like decent teams. I felt that way about LT's Chargers. You know what I'm saying? Even when I was
Yeah.
super young, I felt like they were a silly team, like because they always lost in like dumbass ways. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So like yeah, I feel like now like the Bills are like a silly team. Like I don't take you serious. You know what I'm saying? Like you have Super Bowl aspirations, but I don't take you serious.
Oh no,
Uh,
definitely.
but the Bengals are like a legit Super Bowl operation. Now, I feel like if Joe misses a couple weeks, y'all barely beat Baltimore last year with Tyler Huntley, and that game was in Cincy. I feel like if they have to play Baltimore this year in Baltimore because Joe said not a couple weeks cost them the division, they might not make it out the first round.
Yeah, I can see that. I, I can definitely see that.
And it does have me thinking about like, yo, there's a rash of quarterback injuries this year. So like Kyler's out all year. Joe gonna have to sit for a couple months. Aaron Rodgers is out all year. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't want us to lose any more quarterbacks. You saw Anthony Richardson went out because he, hit his head. He got to protect himself. He got to
Yeah,
protect
yeah, because
himself.
he's playing wild.
Yeah, but he's fun. He's fun.
Yeah, he's
But
fun.
like,
He's definitely fun. But what good is fun if you ain't protecting yourself?
not for real. Not for real. Um, Big strong guy. Like he's going to be a problem for years. But
Oh,
like,
definitely. Yeah.
I don't know if he's. I was talking to I was because I live in Nashville now. Um, talking to some of these Titans fans, and one of the guys he asked me like one guy from church he asked me like, what do I think about CJ Stroud? And I was like, I think he's going to end up being the second best quarterback in that division. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But
Yeah.
he's going to be the second best in that division in like 3 or 4 years. Anthony Richardson is going to be the second best in division this year and most likely next year. You know what I'm saying? Just because of his running element. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think Tannehill's days as the Titans QB, even this win notwithstanding, are like completely numbered. So I didn't like rank him, and I don't know Willis or Levis what that division is gonna look like.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna be interesting. Um, but I mean, I do think. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Yeah, you're right. 'Cause I brain farted on Trevor Lawrence. You're right.
Yeah, I don't think that um I just don't think Richardson's gonna keep it up long term. And when I look at the AFC North, bro, like that's what sucks about like Joe maybe having to sit down is that like I feel like Lamar gets consistently disrespected. I feel like he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but like Deshaun Watson has completely lost it, bro. Like he is not. He's not the same person he was 3 years ago. You know
No,
what I'm saying?
definitely
When he
not.
was taking the Texans to the playoffs and whatnot.
Yeah, he's definitely not the same.
And then Kenny Pickett is just like he's not the type of quarterback I like or go for, to be honest. Like I just it's bias on my part, but like I just in my mind I don't see him as a good quarterback. But I recognize,
I'm with you there because I'm not the biggest Kenny Pickett fan. So
yeah, he just
um,
he doesn't feel like a dynamic quarterback, and it could be like where he was drafted and whatnot. Like I know it's probably bias on my part, but like I don't see him as a good quarterback.
no, I respect it. But I mean, it's just to be fair, it's still early.
Hmm.
Like, so I'm not going to be too harsh on him, but because it is still early. So, but I do think,
But I feel the same way about Mac Jones. You know what I'm saying? I feel the exact same way about Mac Jones. I don't think that Mac Jones is ever like a good like in my mind, he doesn't ever project to be like a good quarterback.
Mac Jones
Like
project to me, he projects as a Kirk Cousins.
high
He's good.
end. Like yeah, like his top ceiling is like Kirk Cousins. And like I wouldn't have never drafted Kirk Cousins 15 overall.
Right, right.
Yeah, there's no world in which I'm drafting Kirk Cousins 15 overall. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that gets missed. It's like people try to divorce players from their draft status to kind of reduce expectations or kind of like give them expectations. Like
Hmm.
Brock Purdy will forever be a steal. Like he's gonna be a steal for the next 4 years because he was Mr. Irrelevant, bro. Which is
Oh
like
yeah,
if you complete one NFL pass, you have already exceeded your draft status.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that you're 8-0 or 9-0 as a starter, like that's gravy. You know what I'm saying? If you completed one NFL pass as Mr. Irrelevant, you have literally exceeded your draft status. Because
Exactly.
there's
Yeah,
no situation in which you should have started.
yeah. You right there because you right because they
Yeah, like it's like the draft is an economic exercise. It's all about like how much you value a person at a spot, right? That's why they call reaches and falls and all those things. Like the Raiders. The Raiders when they picked Alex Leatherwood, right? It wasn't wrong that you needed a center. It wasn't wrong that you liked that player. It's wrong that you picked him in that position because
right,
that's not a high value position. There were other players on the board, and you possibly could have got him literally a whole round later. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So like when he gets judged, he's gonna get judged with all those things in mind. Alex Leatherwood is a decent player, but he's not worth the first round pick that you spent on
No, he's not. No, he's not.
it. And so like that's you and with quarterbacks is worse. Like I didn't think Kenny Pickett was a first round quarterback. He hadn't necessarily played like a first round quarterback. I think he's in a really good situation. Um and I think the same of Mac Jones. But I think he may be in a bad situation because he just doesn't have playmakers.
No, he doesn't. And I'm not sure that system lines up with his strengths.
Yeah. I just but it ain't all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Sometimes you just got to be a good enough quarterback to bring up what's around you.
I mean, yeah, that is. I mean, but the thing is, there's only a handful of quarterbacks that are capable of
Yeah.
that. Like truly, like man, honestly, the only one that really gets that kind of praise from me is is Patrick Mahomes. Right now, he's the only person that gets that praise from me right now.
Now, for me, I think Trevor Lawrence gets it. I think I kind of trashed him last week, but in all truth and honesty, Justin Herbert is like he's a floor raiser type of person. Because I definitely feel like without him, like watching their coach, they
Yeah,
would win 2 games. They would win 2 games. He is a terrible defensive coach. Like
right.
that's his side of the ball. He is a terrible defensive coach. Um,
He definitely is. He
yeah, like
definitely
that
is.
was embarrassing. Uh, I feel like Tua. I feel I feel like Tua is a ceiling raiser. I don't necessarily feel like he's a floor raiser. So I feel like if Tua doesn't have the weapons around him, you're just going to get like a base average type of team. But if Tua has weapons, he's going to take them over the top. Like
Right.
so, like I feel like a couple quarterbacks get that type of like respect from me. But like Dak, Kirk, they're kind of just like decidedly average. You know what I'm saying? Like not in like a super bad way, but just like, y'all are only gonna be as good as the coaching, as the scheme, as the players around you truly allow you to be, and then you still need some breaks from the defense or the other team messing up for you to really go further.
That's fair.
I feel like Joe falls into that floor raiser category where like he one of them ones.
I'm not so sure if he is a floor raiser though. Like I like Joe, but he does have elite talent around him.
This is true, but you got to think about it. His first year, he didn't have Jamar Chase.
But he had T. Higgins.
He had T.
And
Higgins. In the 5 games he played, he was averaging what, like 300 yards passing, like 2, 3 touchdowns. Like Joe's doing his thing even without dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes it's not all the like the touchdowns or whatever. It's truly just like sometimes like finding a way to win a game or finding a way to not lose a game. So like this is gonna sound weird when I say it, but hear me out. I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo could fall into the floor raiser category, right? Just strictly based on the idea that like
I look
he's
at him
gonna
like a
do,
T. I look at him like a Tua though.
yeah, like okay, so like ceiling raiser, yes. Like if I have elite talent around me, like I'm gonna do enough not to make my team lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, and possibly put them over the top. I definitely think, he gets a little disrespected. When I think of Ritter, I think Ritter falls into that kind of very just average mid-tier level. Like I definitely don't consider him a floor raiser, but like I don't see, when I think of high-end elite talent, I thought Kyle Pitts was there, but like Bijan is a high-end elite talent. I can't say on the outside we have that.
I think
So
Pitts
like
is that. It's just quarterback play can't hinder that.
yeah, which is why I'm like I can't put you in ceiling raiser category either. You know what I'm saying? Because like you don't use Pitts.
I mean, that's a fair assessment. But it's still early because I mean he's only played 16 games. So.
He only plays 6 games, you know what I'm saying? Which is why I'm like, I feel like you have this season. Uh Speaking of college players though, you know what I'm saying? Like you have this season, might replace you in the draft. Speaking of college players, man, Travis Hunter. Bro, that was so disheartening to see him get hit like that, bro. Like,
Because it was
and
complete. It was
I
complete
don't
bull.
condone what's up?
It was complete bull.
It was. I don't condone the people like sending death threats to a college kid. Like, yo, get a life, bro.
No,
But
no, it's
but it
not
was,
life or death. But I do think he need a good old butt whooping. But
man, hey, why was that not targeting?
that yeah, I don't understand why that wasn't targeting.
Yeah, I remember texting you during the game, like, bro, how, like, in what world does he still get to play?
They're right, and it just seemed like he's just going penalty, just consequence free. Like that's crazy to me.
And I'm not gonna lie, toward the end of not toward the end of the game, I would say from that play on, and some of the hits that were made, it almost looked like Colorado State was trying to hurt Colorado
Oh no,
players.
I fully believe they were. I fully believe they were because even on the Travis Hunter hill, when you look back at it, when he's walking away, his teammates just dapping him up like he did what he's supposed to do. When he
Yeah,
when he hit him and see him flailing on the ground, he's standing over him looking down at him. Like they were proud that they hurt him.
and then you had to hit on Shador with the DN that ended up getting ejected. That one was just that was hard to watch. That was just a straight up dirty. Like he came under the chin, launched, the ball had been out. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it felt like they were trying to hurt Colorado players.
yeah. They weren't trying. They weren't trying to. They weren't playing football. They were playing to hurt.
And I think so he got the lacerated liver, gonna be out like 3 to 4 weeks. Crazy work. He went back in the game. They
Right.
they actually had to take him out.
No, I'm glad that they did because if they didn't, they could have created other issues.
Yeah, 100%. But like,
Because
bro,
I was reading somewhere that they said like with that type of injury, if you keep on playing, there's a risk that you can go into cardiac arrest.
cardiac arrest or shock from toxicity. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Because your liver has the toxins or whatever, it's lacerated, it's bleeding in you. You going you just go into shock from septic. There you go, septic shock. Um, yeah, definition of built different. You understand me? Because like I played
oh yeah.
football and like I had a really, really bad thigh contusion one time. and I'm gonna call it really, really bad to make myself not seem like a punk. But I definitely was sitting on the sideline, like, "Hey, look, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to thug it out to go back in." My man got a lacerated liver and was just
He's
like,
like, Coach, I'm ready. Like, that's different.
"Yeah, like tisk but a scratch." Like, nah, bro, nah.
Like, that's different.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just, bro. These dudes build different. Like, I think Travis Hunter is going to be. He's literally. I can't think of any comparison because, and I'm gonna steal from another podcast right now. It's the Von Miller pod. He was talking about what if he's a top 5 corner and a top, like, you draft him, let him
Oh
play
yeah,
both.
when they said about $400 million man.
Yeah, but like they got there because Stephon was like, bro, you don't even have to be top 5 in both. Like, if
You
you're
gotta be
a
good.
top 10 corner and a top 10 wide, a top 15 wide receiver, you gotta combine and average that money. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
combine and average that money. Like, you can't pay me 25 a year.
No, absolutely not.
If I'm doing 45 to 50 snaps at wide receiver and I'm giving you 75 snaps at corner, you're not getting away paying me 25 a year. Like, it's not
Oh no.
27 a year. It's not
Yeah, no.
happening, bro. Like
Not at all.
like the
Because
conversation
that just
starts at 36.
logistically
Like,
it don't make sense.
no, no, the conversation starts at 36. Like, then we can like if you pick up the phone and you like 31, like, click. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. Not answering the phone for nothing less than this.
yeah, like, and like I like the salary cap, I like the books, I like all that. But like, if you literally say you draft him, right? You draft him, he's going top 5. He's going top 5. Let's say he goes 3, right? He's rookie
Mm,
salary slotted. One, because of CBA issues, you have to pick a position you slot him at, right? Wide receiver gets paid more than corner. So you would want to be slotted as a wide receiver.
right.
But I don't think it's that much different from corner. You could say corner because, like, playing a majority of snaps at corner, I feel like it's easier to play 75 snaps at corner and then 50 at wide receiver rather than 75 at wide receiver and 50 at corner. Like,
That's fair.
I feel like, you have to be intricately involved in the defensive scheming for the majority of the game to help your team plan and move a defense around you. Whereas offensive players can be dropped in sporadically and still make plays.
Right.
So, you may just go ahead, be slotted as a corner, right? You got your 4 years. Um, let's just say 4 years, 20 28 mil for easy. You know what I'm saying? 4 years, 28 mil. And then your 5th year option is gonna be, so you're averaging 7 mil a year, and then your 5th year option is like 12 million. So all in, you 5 years, $40 million, right? After your 3rd year, they're gonna rip up them last 2 years. So you've been
Right.
paid 21 mil at that time. You're not signing a deal for 25 mil a year at that point.
You're not. No, you're not.
It's like, we're not talking until, if you've consistently played 75 snaps at corner, 50 to 55 snaps at wide receiver, like, all right, 36 is a little high, but like at least 33.
Right.
So you're looking at 33 over 5 years is 150, 165, probably guarantee 120, 124 of that. And you're going to get another bite at the apple.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you're, what's that, 24, when you're 28, you're going to get another bite at the apple. Now, I do believe post 26, 27, 28 years old, you're going to have to pick a side of the ball. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think your body's going to be able to hold up at
No,
that
that's
point.
all. That's asking a whole lot. Like, you would have to be like a spot player. Like, if they use it, it would just be like, you're full time member. We're just going to use you sparingly here. Just just because you're dynamic with the ball in your hand.
Hmm.
We're going to figure something out.
Yeah, but like once you get that age, like at that time, you're going to have to you're gonna have to pick a side of the ball. I think naturally he's a bit more gifted at corner. Um, I not to say he's not a really good wide receiver. He's just naturally more gifted at corner. But like, no telling where the salary cap is gonna be at that time. But like, even if you average, you know, 30, 34, or even if you just do the same 33-year deal, you know what I'm saying? Like reasonably at corner slash wide receiver, he could make 200 to $250 million playing both
Right.
sides of the
Yeah.
ball. Like in just contract. And like that's quarterback money.
Right.
So, prayers up to him. I hope he, recovers quickly. Can't wait to see him back out. It sucks that he's missing Oregon and USC though.
Yeah. Also, I just want to put prayers up to Nick Chubb. I know a lot of people didn't see the injury that he went
Oh,
through, but it
oh,
was bad.
bro, my
It- 'cause
dumb self went on YouTube because I was like, oh, they wouldn't show the replay. There's a reason they didn't show that replay.
yeah, that was Willis McGahee esque.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a Hurricane fan, so like, that's exactly what it looked like.
Because
Um,
and he had this same exact injury in college on the same knee.
yeah, yeah. Prayers up. Obviously, his season's done. Uh, which could slick lead us into the next conversation. We were talking about contracts and whatever. The devaluation of the running back position, man. Just
Yeah,
Nick Chubb went out. His replacement came in over 100 yards, tutty, uh, really controlled the game. And it's like people talk about Chubb getting hurt was the reason running backs want their money, but his replacement coming in was the reason owners don't want to pay.
yeah, oh yeah. That is true.
You feel what I'm saying? Because it's like, bro, I can get damn near the same level of production. It may not look the same, right? And I feel like when you break down the numbers, when you actually go into the attrition of hits that a running back's body takes on a tackler, like obviously it's way harder to tackle Nick Chubb than it was to tackle his replacement. And
Yeah,
over the course of the game, that like leads to bigger runs, bigger points of offense, like deeper drops on play action, like all that type stuff. If you really get into the nuanced numbers, but if you just box score look at it, it's like I got a guy who can run over 100 yards.
right. Well, yeah. Um, yeah, it's a tricky situation. Like it, it sucks for the running back because but there are some players that do demand certain respects. Like eventually, we're gonna get at this point in Atlanta with this this guy named Bijan. A few people may not have heard of him.
Yeah, just guy in the street.
Yeah, and as dynamic as he is, you gotta pay someone like that. Like you have to. So it's I hate the whole running back situation. I genuinely do because these people deserve to be paid and
My fix
appreciated.
for the running back situation, honestly, is one. Uh, I feel I feel three positions should be able to come out after their sophomore year if they're able to, right? So
Mhm.
that's running back, corner, and offensive tackle, right?
Okay, I can get with that.
So this affects a minuscule number of athletes, right? So like changing the rule to let them come out a year early, 99% of 99.9% of athletes are not going to take it, right? Like not too many people want to come out after 2 years of college. Like most people need 3 to like season their body, like get into a program regimen, etc. Right?
Yeah.
One, you let running backs come out a year earlier. Corners, I feel like you could like Travis Hunter could play in the NFL next year. You know what I'm saying? Like
I don't know if he can because he is very slight.
he's very slight, but if he gets into like a regiment, a workout regiment, like his slight build is by design.
Yeah,
Like
but
he's keeping.
he's only 165. Like he's 165, and I think he's 19. Like
What's
that
his
that
name?
that's asking a whole lot.
What's his name? I want to say. Oh, is it Harris the second? Not no, not Chris Harris the second. It's a Broncos DB. Is it Chris Harris? Super slight dude, right? Um, obviously, Hunter needs like 20 more pounds to play in the league,
Yeah,
but
he needs a good bit.
it's almost like could you take a quote unquote red shirt league in the year, a red shirt year in the league? You know what I'm saying? Where it's
I
like
mean, but that would defeat the purpose, though.
not necessarily. So if I have your draft rights, yeah, which is why I was like corner necessarily not wide receiver, is because like if I have your draft rights and I can get you in the building and I can keep a year of football off of your body,
I mean, yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I see the thought process.
right? But that's just with corner and then offensive tackle. Panay Sewell was good enough to come out as a sophomore, and he just
Right.
literally right. Any generational offensive tackle that you know of was good enough to come out after their sophomore year. There was no extra film. Uh, what's his name that went to out of Michigan that went to the Dolphins, number 1 overall? Jake Long.
Yeah.
Jake Long was good enough to come out his sophomore year. Had to wait to be a junior, right? Uh, the Chiefs drafted him number 1 overall. I'm forgetting his name right now.
The
Laramie
lineman,
Tunsil.
Jake Fisher. Oh, no, Jake Fisher
Eric
was the one
Fisher.
that went up.
Eric Fisher, right? Uh, he was a bust, and he was a 5th-year senior as a tackle, right? And then ended up having to go to guard out of Western Michigan. He wasn't a generational prospect. You look at Larry Tunzel, was good enough to come out as a sophomore, right? Like it's just offensive tackle should have that. But the reason I say running back should have that is because now you're at 19 or 20 years old, right? It's asking a lot. And like I said, this is so minuscule. Like this is such a small number of athletes. But allow that process for them to come out as a sophomore. Only if they're 20 years old, because I think 19 is a little too young. Only if they're 20 years old and are turning 21 in the next calendar year, right? So you had to graduate at 18. You're gonna be turning 21 by the time the next season starts, right? That
Mhm.
will allow you that even if they keep the exact same rookie wage scale, because a lot of people are like, oh, change the rookie wage scale or the rookie contracts for the running backs. And it's like, nah, that's a whole bunch of CBA issues. Keep the exact same rookie wage scale, all that, right? You're going to come up on your contract at age 24, right? So you actually have a leg to stand on to get a big contract. Whereas whereas right now, you're 25. At best, I'm going to give you a 3-year deal. At best, it might be
Yeah.
5 years on paper, but it's really a 3-year deal, right? And I just say 5 so I can amortize out the money.
Right.
I don't see a world in which running backs are ever going to be valued like they were in LT's day, Adrian Peterson's day. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see a league that's going to value running backs like that.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Um, yeah. Unfortunately, it is. It's that's a fair statement, but it's unfair for the position. But
And then the last
hopefully,
thing, the last thing that I want to talk about was this extreme choke job that the Atlanta Dream did. So I got two girls, you know what I'm saying? I love to, see your heroes on the screen. So like I like to get them to watch basketball or whatnot. Not really interested in it, but they, I like the WNBA to show them that. So I do watch. And Ryan Howard, she's awesome, right? First round draft pick. This was her playoff debut. They lost 3-0 to the to Dallas, right?
Mhm.
But they choked game two. They were up 20 in game two and lost by 15. It's never happened. Like, it's
That
almost never
is
happened in WNBA,
that
mainly
is
because
bad.
it's a lower scoring league. Up 20 in the WNBA is like being up 35 in the NBA, bro. There is no reason for you to lose that game. It was
Not yeah.
embarrassing. Um, it was crazy. It was the 4-5 matchup, but if you look at the records, Atlanta was like 4 games under 500. So obviously, there's a clear differentiation between the top 4 teams in the league and the bottom five. But it was just a choke job. It was a choke job.
Got to do better. Like you got to do better. Yeah, you just can't have that.
I'm looking forward to next season. Hopefully, uh, if you ever listen to the pod at any point, I talked about how I would have fixed the WNBA, but they actually have a little bit of buzz for the playoffs this year, and it was interesting to watch. I feel like ESPN like really put some money behind the production value of it, and it's a decent watch. I think their playoffs going against football is a stupid decision. Um, I think they need to move their season up a bit so that finals are at best going against preseason football. But
Right.
that's just people get
Yeah,
stuck in their ways.
because once football gets going, it's a tough beat.
Yeah, like the first 2 months of the NBA season is really a wash. You know what I'm saying? Like 2.5, 3 months of the NBA season is a wash because like football is still there. So that's why I'm like, but I do feel like the WNBA is kind of in a tough spot because you don't want to go against NBA ratings, obviously. Like you don't want to go against the NBA game. I feel like their direct competitor should be baseball. You know what I'm saying? Like literally start your season in like April. You know what I'm saying? Late April, early May. Finish your season in probably the second week of July, and then have your playoffs, and your finals are going to go against preseason football. And if you really time it up, your finals could go in that bye week in between the last week of preseason football and the start of the NFL week.
Yeah, it's they got to figure that out.
Yeah, because I
They
feel
can
like
come
just
up with a
going.
bigger because the viewership is too much. There's too much competing. So hopefully they can figure the viewership out with that.
Absolutely. I feel like we done took this one hella long. So
Oh
appreciate you.
damn!
This has been your boy Q City.
And this been your boy Taj Bravado.
Come back with us. Love to hear from you again. We out.
Yes, sir.
Like a Chapo, licking like I hit the lotto. I want a hottie like mulatto. I'm on here and she on Moscato. I'm in them good till tomorrow. I'm a robber for the Neros. Yo, little laws, I'ma put you on payroll. You smell that aroma? Design the air, it's a party, yeah. Papa Corona, she moving her body, she working them heels. Gotta go get it mentality. Grocery bag full of celery. Only believe half what she telling me. Keep a 20 on me, case emergency. I wake up early every morning. Thank the Lord and get the bag. Hustle hard, get the cash. Stack first, then I'm showing my ass. Gotta go get it mentality. Grocery bag full of celery. Only believe half what she telling me. Keep a 20 on me, case emergency.
My babies, that's who I grind for. That's who I do it for. Like the Navy, that's who I'm toting that iron for. Keep one in the head like a thought, nigga. Yeah, I fuck with Ty, he a boss, nigga. Foot on their neck, I exhaust, nigga. Niggas cross me, so I cross, nigga. Them stripper was lit last night. 500 what it cost, nigga. Shit was really legit last night. Had them hoes at the house, nigga. Instagram, Snapchat, Triller. What they say about Jay, he a go-getter. Used to have them fat sacks in the grove, nigga. Late nights, early morning, my dough, nigga.
You smell that aroma? Design the air, it's a party in here. Papa Corona, she moving her body, she working them heels. Gotta go get it mentality. Grocery bag full of celery. Only believe half what she telling me. Keep a 20